Hello and welcome to the eCommerce MasterPlan Virtual Summit, packed with the tips and the strategies that you need to achieve your goals this year and beyond. I'm Chloe Thomas, host and creator of the award-winning eCommerce MasterPlan and the Marketing Focus Keep Optimizing podcast. I'm also the host of this summit, which means it's down to me. Yes, it's my responsibility to make sure it's an event that gives you the top quality and advice and ideas you need in every single session. And I've worked with every single one of our speakers to get the content absolutely perfect for what you need to know this year. And I'm going to be with you in every single session, whether you like it or not, asking the questions to make sure we get the best out of every topic for you. Now, with competition levels ever increasing at the moment and inflation squeezing that customer spending power, and all of ours and your costs going up, having the right tools that save you time and automate your marketing is super important to keep both your sales flowing and protect your margins. And who better to take us through the latest tech tips and the latest tech we should know about than Derric Haynie from eCommerce Tech. Hey, Derric, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Really looking forward to this event.
Awesome to have you here. I think we should go straight into your slide deck. So I am going to leave you to it. Ooh.
Awesome.
I should do that whilst taking myself off screen, not you off screen. So let's leave you to present your deck. Derric.
Thank you, Chloe. Yeah, I have very little time. I'm just going to go as quickly as possible. I'm actually even going to skip my intro. What you need to know is that I've demoed so many technology tools out there. It's literally my job. I'm creating an entire platform around understanding e-commerce technology. If you want a quick landscape download, you can go to ecomtech.link/landscape and download this, I think 240 different tools that we've kind of mapped out into the ecosystem for you. So before I go into choosing the right technology tools, and then I'm going to show you a few tools if we have enough time at the end, I have to start with this concept of market consolidation, because what's going on in e-commerce technology and in e-commerce is also kind of fueling this. From the dawn of the internet, let's just say circa 2000 until about 2015, it's been all about proliferation, right? More stores going online, more tools to enable them. And of course, those landscape files like this are expanding really, really quickly. And now there's about 15,000 apps serving e-commerce merchants today. So just blowing up in the number of tools to choose from, leading to choice paralysis, all these other problems. But now in the last 3 to 5 years, maybe even 7 years, there's been a massive shift into consolidation of these tools. What it looks like is companies like Yotpo are acquiring SMS bumps, well, rewards. Klaviyo has raised $150 million and launched SMS. You have OmniSend and MiniChat launching more and more functionalities around SMS, WhatsApp. Their pop-up tools are now actually, kind of better than, let's just say, a standalone pop-up tool, and so forth and so on. So instead of being the jack of all trades, master of none, which is, that cliche statement, it's actually you now have, because there's been enough time in market, the master of many different technologies, so that one tool can actually do lots of things well. And this is important for you as a merchant, because that means that you really need to understand how tools might overlap in their stack, and if they are performing their SMS marketing as well as they should be. Is Klaviyo's SMS as good as the standalone SMS bump? And in the past, the answer was no, but because of the the kind of progression of their technology, the answer today is probably yes. It's quite equivocal. And then you even have funds launching. When the VCs are getting into this, that it's really become a big thing. WeCommerce, which is a small subset of Tiny Capital, which is a massive, like, multi-billion or at least billion-dollar VC fund, acquiring all these technologies and putting them under one umbrella, with Assembly doing a very similar thing. So these are like roll-up companies for multitudes of technology products. So again, just think about whether, when you're buying a technology product, is it fitting into the proliferation of tools? Is it a new innovative technology on top of what's already existing out there? Or should it be more of a consolidation of tool, which is going to be those key categories like email, SMS, personalization, pop-up tools, upsell, cross-sell, those types of things, inventory management. They're now all, best of many type of solutions. And how does that play into your entire stack? And of course, we also have the giant in the room, Shopify, having started Shopify Shipping in 2015, Shopify Capital, Shopify Arrive, fraud protection, email, fulfillment, subscriptions, POS, and then Shopify Shop Pay and installments. I am already running out of time, so I got to move faster. Let's just get right into the meat of it. There are two types of tools to typically think about One is going to move the KPI metric in your business, something like increasing average order value or increasing conversion rate or increasing traffic to the website, since we're here on the customer acquisition channel. The other is just going to be about automating tasks. And so time savers are obviously very important, but mostly we want to make changes to key KPIs when thinking about tools. So we're going to focus on those for now. Here's the process that you probably go through right now when choosing a technology product. It usually starts with a small fire that starts growing and growing until a big fire that you finally realize you need to put out. Then you take one of your team members who's likely underqualified and focused on one specific activity, like answering customer service emails, and you task them with figuring out the right solution, or like finding the customer service help desk. They have no real experience and probably don't even understand the cohesiveness of the tool, how it needs to integrate with the rest of your stack. But don't worry, they're on it. And so undoubtedly, their next step is to ask our one and only overlord, Google, right? Google, always watching. Hopefully they found something in the top 3 search results, because that's all they're looking for. And they can now start trying to figure out all the jargon and all these companies' websites and figure out which one is actually going to be the customer service help desk in this case for you. So through this entire scientific process, through all the demos, which are unavoidable, all the Facebook group posts where they're looking for comments from random people and hoping that they pan out to good decisions, and then looking at what your competitors are doing and coming back, you may have just found a tool that's going to work for the company, and hopefully they can get the buy-in from the management to actually install this tool, right? So this is your typical crazy process of finding a new technology product. There's got to be a better way though, right? So let's just kind of summarize it really quickly in these 7 basic steps. The first 3 or 4, I suppose, here are all coming in together typically. So when you do identify that problem or opportunity, sit down with all of the stakeholders and start with a needs analysis. What does the functionality of this tool actually look like? What does it need to integrate with? Our help desk needs to talk to our email service provider, needs to pull data from our Shopify backend. It needs to understand the inventory in our warehouse for XYZ reason. It needs to talk to our subscription billing platform so that we can cancel, renew, or pause subscriptions. Things like that, maybe we want to link it to our UGC review tool or something so that we can get more reviews through our customer service inquiries. You need to understand what you need from it. Does it need to have live chat? So forth and so on. And then how much can we actually afford to pay for this? Now, a lot of tools are going to pay for themselves in some ways, but that doesn't mean you just have an unlimited budget. So budget also includes that time to recouping your investment, right? So it's going to take 1 month, 3 months. Am I actually going to be able to recoup my investment before going live, like by testing it out, proving that it increases conversion rate, and then paying them basically a fraction of what they're making for us every single month. And that works great with personalization and a lot of on-site conversion rate tools, but that doesn't necessarily play the same way with email and even SMS marketing channel tools. Ad tech can take a long time to recoup the cost on, and so forth and so on. And then finally, the understanding your switching and lock-in costs, like a help desk or an email service provider, takes a long time to switch away from because you're creating all these custom flows, sequences, rules, and macros, right? So you really need to understand how long would it take to switch off of this? Is there custom development work needed? And if so, kind of the higher the budget you're going to spend and the higher these lock-in or switching costs, the more time you should be spending vetting each technology product. And so, of course, after those 4 steps, you go out onto the internet. You can go to my site where I've reviewed over 200 technology products, and we're growing very quickly. Create the short list, go through the demo process, see if they check all the boxes for you, in making sure that they are really going to work for you in the way that they need to. Usually, I recommend at least comparing 2 different products. One versus, that's a yes or no switch. And so you need to make sure that you're looking at 2, maybe 3 competitors, usually not more than 3. Hopefully you can narrow it down before going into the demo process to 2 or 3. But if the larger the decision, maybe the more you add onto that list. And then with most of these tools, especially in the conversion rate optimization space, or channel marketing, you want to roll it out in typically a testing period. And this is where I think most merchants are missing the mark. They're just installing a tool on the site and hoping it makes them money, and then looking in that analytics dashboard of the tool, and it's like, oh, we made you $48,000. It's like, that's funny because I only made $30,000 this month for my store. Like, right, those numbers are never completely accurate. But if you roll it out in a true split test, so that half of your traffic is getting the old version of the website and the half of the traffic is experiencing this new tool or technology, you'll actually be able to see the total net increase of revenue, average order value, conversion rate, whatever KPI you're optimizing for. And then you can set that inherent value of the tool kind of really validating it. And therefore, every time you pay that bill, you know that you're making money off the decision. Okay, we're already practically out of time. Let me just show you a couple of quick tools that I really love. Here's one called Caro Brand Partnerships. What I love about this is that because when we're talking about customer acquisition, a great place to get customers is actually not necessarily from your competitor's website, but from your complementary products website. So if you sell dog collars and somebody else sells dog food, you could put their dog food on your website. You could put your dog collars on their dog food site. Use this traffic that they're already driving to their store to sell your products. They make a small commission. Everything is handled magically in the back end. Love that tool. SparkToro is like the search engine for influence. So if you're looking at investing in influencer marketing, you can see what percentage here of Diet Doctor's audience is focused in keto. 860,000 social followers, but only 25% of them care about keto. So what should you pay for buying from them, right? It should be like 25% the cost. Some quick ad tech tools for you. I know we're already pretty much out of time. Copysmith will actually write pretty good copywriting for you based on your existing product detail pages and really limited kind of input on your side. You can then source through what they've written and figure out what's going to work for you. Put those up as ads, put those as your meta descriptions, put those as your product descriptions, things like that. Pencil does something very similar, but instead it's visual. It's perfect for Facebook video ads and Instagram story ads and things like that. It actually takes all of your content, creates videos, and then uses AI to optimize those videos based on your return on ad spend. It's brilliant. I wish I had more time to talk about it. Rockerbox, once you go into multiple different channels of acquisition, you're going to need a tool to monitor your attribution. And this really breaks it down so you can see, here's what paid search actually made for me, right? Actually made for me as its influence on the customer journey, not what Google or Facebook said the return on ad spend was, but what it actually made for me. So this, my actual total revenue is my actual total revenue, not 3x or 5x my total revenue, because it's adding up from all the channels, right? Really quick on user-generated content. If you're doing things on Instagram stories, you can actually put those on your website now with tools like StoryPop or Polaris. This is proven to increase conversion rate. And you can even shop the look from these photos, add all those things to your cart instantly from something like your Instagram story. 460 is allowing you to tag products. Site, so that you can actually upload a photo from Instagram and it'll tag all the products and you can shop the look from there. Especially great when you can't label all your products. I'm basically out of time. I'm going to quickly go to the end, skip through all of these. I have to plug my own tool really quick here. Toolbox, which we are entering into alpha and beta testing very soon. If you want a tool to manage all of your tools, understand cost by category, and then very soon here in the future, the ability to use the data of your own tools and technologies and stage your business to research and discover the right tools in a faster fashion, you can head over to ecomtech.link/beta. I'd love to have you in our beta program, which will be live in just a couple of weeks here through to the end of the year. And you can test out that platform, save a ton of time in choosing all the tools. I wish I had more time. Chloe, I'll bring you back on and feel free to email me for the slides and all that stuff.
Hey, Derric, that was brilliant. Thank you. We will, everyone who's watching, what we will make sure we do is that in the book of the summit, which you can download right now from somewhere around here, which is our book where we have our notes on every session, plus all the key bits, the key links and all that kind of stuff, we'll make sure we put links through to the e-commerce tech pages about each of those cool apps Derric mentioned. So you can go and get Derric's take on them at your own leisure on his website. So we'll set all that up for in the book of the summit. So go and grab that wherever it is around this video. I can never remember where they are, but there's a link somewhere here for you to go grab the book of the summit. So do that. And if you can't find it, just like I can't, we will be emailing it to you before the week is out. Derric, that was absolutely superb. And I'm really pleased you mentioned Toolkit there, because it's going to be such a game-changing product for people once you're fully out of beta. And if I had a store, I would be joining your beta right now. So I'm really pleased you mentioned that one. Wow, where do we go in terms of questions? So much I could mention right now. I think for me, one of the big things from your presentation at the beginning, you were saying that we are now in a position where potentially one tool can do it all, and that's been a long time coming. A lot of the SaaS guys have talked about it, but we've had to bolt things together. It's kind of groundbreaking that we can potentially now do everything in one place.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be one tool can do a lot of things. I think I don't know if it can do all of the things. Shopify knows that they're not the best for everything. That's why they've created a phenomenal app ecosystem. But instead of having to have a pop-up tool, an SMS tool, an email tool, a personalization tool, what else? A WhatsApp tool, a live chat tool. Like a lot of things around marketing automation are absolutely being consolidated into one tool, and that's because the customer journey is what's really at the center. And when you're empowering the customer to go through that journey, you want all of these things to be in one place. You want to track their activity across all of the channels in one place. You don't want to have to pipe that in with an API because there's actually a lot of data that can be lost, and you'd have to create a data warehouse and your own customer CDP, customer data platform. And so that gets to be a nightmare. So a lot of times now, the customer data platform, which is Klaviyo now calls themselves a customer data platform, the marketing automation platform is the customer data platform, which is great for merchants because 20 years ago, you would literally have to build a database and have like 10 tech people like working on this nonstop. And you're in e-commerce, you're mostly trying to sell products online and focus on customer acquisition and entertaining and engaging with the customer, not on building, fancy tech products in the back end. And so having that at our fingertips now empowers really the entrepreneur with a great idea to be more successful. It does also, warning, it does empower the wantrepreneur, is what I call it, to essentially waste a bunch of money and fail. So there is that double-edged sword of it, but I do believe that it's overall a net good for people to have one tool that can cohesively run that customer through the journey and work across, because if you know what they're engaging with in the email, that changes what you should say in the SMS. And if you know what's going on in the SMS and what they've purchased in their history, you know what the personalization widget should look like, right? So all of these things naturally really just tie together.
Yeah, it does. It's better for your KPIs, but also saves you an awful lot of time. Because,
Yes.
I like the fact you said, we have tools for two separate reasons. One's the time, one's the KPIs, and the time is less important. But I think I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think you pick the wrong tool and it will have a massive impact on your time as you're doing things manually. Things aren't working, things are difficult. So it's kind of often the reason you've got the wrong tool is when you're just spending a huge amount of time to achieve very, very little.
Yeah, and sometimes that's another thing that I didn't get into. Maybe it's one of the 7 steps, but who's going to manage the tool and how much of their time is it going to take to manage that tool properly? So is it 1 hour a week? Is it an hour a month? Is it a tool that you install once and it just magically works on the site, right? So understanding that and who's going to manage it, because if your plate is already full as a merchant, most of your employees' plates are already full. They're not just sitting there, waiting for one more thing to be added. And then, they're usually very busy in their day. So some tools will save them some of that time, but other tools are like optimizations on top. For instance, live chat, adding live chat to the website adds more work, but it increases conversion rate. So it pays for itself. It's worth it. But who in the company has the time to do that? And can we execute at the level we need to achieve the goal of increased conversion rate?
Well, especially when you mention live chat, your customers are probably shopping in the evening and at the weekends. Is anyone going to be looking at it at the evenings and weekends? Because
Yeah.
the number of businesses I come across who've installed it and it's amazing 9 to 5, but once the customer services team go down and the customers come online, nothing. But I slightly digress us there. Derric, I thought those 7 steps you took us through of how to approach tools is so crucial, because whatever your business, you've got to really understand the needs before you get excited by a bright shiny object. And Derric shared quite a few amazing shiny objects with us earlier, so this counts for them as well. There has to be a need for it, and so often businesses just go, oh, we'll have that, and then end up with the mess that a lot of us have right now of tools that just
30
don't work
installed
with each
apps in the
other.
back end of your of your Shopify, and you don't know which ones are working and which ones aren't, and you're actually spending money on most of them, right? So you're afraid to turn it off because it might break the website, and you don't want to mess with that. And yeah, that is it's a serious problem that our tool specifically will eventually address, that kind of usage problem. In the meantime, it's a process again of before installing a tool, make sure that you have a plan, 7 steps to make sure that there is a course of action and how this is going to relatively significantly change the business and who's going to own it. Yeah. And if you are just installing things on a whim, that's, this is what you can see in the Shopify App Store, those 1-star reviews. Most 1-star reviews are actually the merchant failing the tool provider, not the tool failing the merchant. The merchant installs the tool. They expect magic. Oh, this is supposed to drive sales for me. It's supposed to, increase conversion rate. It's like, well, you didn't have a working business. You don't have a good funnel. Like, you don't have a good product. So those are the reasons this app is failing you. And it's, and you didn't put anybody behind the tool, and the person behind the tool isn't an experienced marketer or advertiser or whatever it needs to be, right? So there are a lot of reasons why those 1-star reviews are really on the onus of the merchant and not the technology provider. Now, of course, that's not all of them, but in my opinion, I think that that kind of star review process needs to go away, and instead we should use data to analyze and make our decisions on things like integrations, budget, stage of my business, understanding my own internal resources and who's going to manage this tool and things like that.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? So often I hear people grumbling about a tool, and it's as much their fault as it is the tool's fault, because they picked the wrong thing in the first place. But Derric, I could talk about this for quite a while, but I think possibly we should give a little bit more practical advice to the audience. So I've got 2 questions for you before we wrap up. The first one is, we are going into, as I said at the beginning, we're going into a time of, dare I say it, recession. Competition levels are massively up in e-commerce as well. Consumer spending's down. All brands' costs are going up as well. Is this the time to reassess our tool base? Should we take some time out to get that right? Is that an essential component of doing our best this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So my philosophy is every quarter there should be a tech stack review, and I know that most merchants aren't making it to every quarter, but I mean certainly at least once a year. You need to go line item by line item, whether it's through literally your bank transact statement or QuickBooks or Xero or something like that. Look at it. Go into the tool and go look at what it's done in the last 30 days or whatever. Has it sent 7,000 impressions, 500 new email addresses, and take that value or perceived value and tie it to the number that you're paying for it and say, do these things line up? Is this what I'm paying for? Another thing that happens is, it's March. In November, you might have had a huge rush of sales, right? For Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you moved up 3 tiers in usage on a tool, and now you actually can move back down, but the tool didn't move you down automatically. So sometimes it's even just about saving a few dollars by moving down in tiers or simplifying. Like I've seen a lot of people, I did this for a while. I was paying for Typeform and I had HubSpot forms, and I looked at it and I said, oh, HubSpot forms can completely fulfill my job, but I have to move all these Typeforms over in order to make it work. I was like, well, I'll do that tomorrow. And then tomorrow turns into $70, turns into $210, right? Because I'm paying $70 a month for this tool. So, taking the time to make the migration once you've identified that there is an opportunity to save a few dollars. But largely, it's not about saving. It's about where you can invest your time and resources for growth, for improving things like conversion rate. And conversion rate is one of the most important metrics, because if you increase it just a little bit, it has a great, it increases return on ad spend. It increases, there's more repeat purchases because of it, right? So lifetime value is getting higher. All sorts of really good things happen in the business. And of course, average order value is also very important and average order value leads to higher profitability. Conversion rate leads to higher revenue, right? And so we can think about how to tinker with those levers based on what you need in your business. And the one final thing I'll say is that everything is about scale. If you're a starting store, there are only so many tools you can really use and leverage points that you can make. And as you grow, you kind of gain access to new technologies that are now properly affordable for you. Like you can't really go into headless commerce as a $100,000 a year store. You'll just go broke, and your site will load fast, but you're paying $30,000 a year for which is 1/3 of revenue. It's not going to make any sense. But at $1 million in revenue, all of a sudden that helps you skyrocket growth. Similar things with personalization and other forms of marketing automation, two-way SMS, social selling, and things like that kind of get enabled as the business grows.
And without meaning to put yet another bright, shiny object in front of the audience, if there's one tech that maybe the audience doesn't know about, or they should be considering, or a specific piece, what would you be assessing now if you were running a store?
I'm going to go with 2, but I got to say personalization is still significantly overlooked. I can't believe people are still using the Shopify, the free Shopify, frequently bought together widget, a personalization tool that includes upsells and cross sells across the product detail page, cart page, and if you're on Plus, the checkout process. Super impactful, and you can split test these personalization tools against each other to actually figure out which one's better for you. And that also leads to better merchandising for anybody that's in fast fashion or food and beverage, and you have products that are expiring. It can really lead to a big impact in change in the business. The second one that I want to mention is two-way SMS, because a lot of people might be doing one-way SMS or no SMS. Two-way SMS, there are tools like Cartloop, Emotive, Voyage SMS, and there's one more that I'm forgetting that they're going to be mad at me if I don't remember. And they actually, they actually are solving it with kind of bot flow automation, so that when people are responding, you're able to put in the product right there. You're able to send them right to the checkout, right? So it becomes a conversation with the brand, tightens the relationship, proven to just be massively more increasing conversion rate and retention and all those good things.
Awesome. Thank you, Derric. Before you go, could you please let everyone know how they can get in touch with you when they want to find out more?
Yeah, you can, of course, plug me into LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with you there. You can go to the website, ecommercetech.io, and I am Derric, Derric, at ecommercetech.io. I answer all my emails, and I can send you the deck and talk about tools. I can warn you not to install the tools I just said. Like, just because I show them to you doesn't mean you should go installing them. You have to think about how this affects your business, like I said, right?
Awesome. Thanks, Derric. It's been absolutely awesome hearing from you. You've given us all a very large amount to think about, and I'm sure several of the audience will be getting in touch. So thank you so much for being with us as part of this summit.
Thanks for having me.
She says, forgetting she has to remove Derric from the stream. Well, everyone, there you go. Loads of stuff for you to think about as a result of that. Both some tech tools to go through, and also some things to add to your to-do list in terms of, doing that audit on your business. Which tools are you using? Are they the right ones? Should you be adding more? And if you should be, working out exactly what that right tool is, because the right tool is brilliant. The wrong tool is a pain in your, quite frankly, everything. So thank you very much for tuning into this session. We will add loads of those links. We'll try and add all the links that Derric mentioned in the book of the summit, the PDF of everything that you can download right now. And I hope that's given you some good ideas for improving your customer acquisition activity, because if you haven't got those right tools in place, the whole thing becomes more difficult. And if you've got the personalization, you've got the two-way customer services, you've got those pieces in place, the follow-up sequences, it makes every bit of traffic that you are paying to get to your website more likely to convert and therefore improve your ROI. Coming up later today, we have a session where next we've got a session with another brilliant expert. We've also got, which actually that's our Facebook ads session coming up next. Yes, we've got one on Facebook ads. And we've also got one rounding off, if you like the idea of the Caro brand, that kind of collaborative brand piece that Derric mentioned. We've got Stephen from Good Carts coming up to talk about another way in which you can partner with other brands to increase your sales. Now, all the replays from this event are going to be available for you to watch with your team by next week. So please do share this with them and anyone else you think would benefit. And don't forget, it's totally free for all online retailers. So anyone who you think would benefit from this, please do tell them to go to ecmp.info/summit 2020 to sign up and get all this great stuff on replay, or if they log in really quickly, live as well, very, very soon. And I will see you very shortly in the next summit.